We got Syracuse linebacker Dyshawn Davis and CFS major. We're going to start off by asking Dyshawn a few questions. Dyshawn, as a child, what type of discipline did your parents or anybody around you put upon you?
As a child, coming from a house where I was the only child, I didn't have a father. My mother, and my grandmother raised me, so they pretty much used, it was pretty, strict with the discipline, and I got spanked a lot. As far as my discipline, as far as discipline areas, but yeah.
Okay, we're dealing with a couple of cases with the Ray Rice. I'm not the Ray Rice, the Adrian Peterson case. How did you feel about that when you first heard the news about him getting in trouble or in trouble with the law for disciplining his child?
Um, you know, when I first heard about it, I'm like, Adrian Peterson is, I just thought of it as they said it was child abuse, and I'm like, you know, Adrian Peterson doesn't seem like a guy who would, abuse his child. And then, as the story went along, and I got, deeper details about, what happened, and for me personally, I understand his situation and understand, how he disciplined his kids. Him growing up, his father, probably, disciplined him by spanking him or beating him. So, it was just probably like a continuous cycle where, he felt like the proper discipline for his kids was to spank them, when they did something wrong or he did something bad. And I also feel like, they said that he beat one son because the one son knocked down another son, and personally, I don't think someone should be judged off, how they raise their kids, because people, grow up differently. People have different families who believe in different things, and it might be harder to, get a child to understand, what's wrong and what's right through, different discipline areas. So, you know, um, I personally think that, it's okay for him to discipline his child in that way of, you know, of spanking him or whatever he did. I just thought it was funny because the child had marks on him, so I guess they went to school and the school reported it. So I just think he just should have just been more careful of just sending the child to school just with them bruises on him.
Exactly. So this was definitely a tough case to handle. Dyshawn, out of these choices, which discipline do you prefer when you become a father or somebody you're looking over? These choices are spanking, taking away TV, phone, or free time, or additional chores.
Um, I feel like that question is a little tricky because, um, when the child has a phone, taking away a phone is probably a different discipline area, like for different age groups. When my child is young, clearly, and they don't know right from wrong, I clearly wouldn't spank them, but I just feel like taking a phone or it depends on the situation and what the child did, but me growing up, like I said, I got spanked, but I think this younger generation that's coming upon us, don't really get didn't really get beat. How you got beat or I got beat or most people I grew up with and most people that I play football with and I talk to, they all say that they got beat when they were younger, or whatever the case may be. But I prefer, you know, I wouldn't say taking away a phone, but taking away a privilege that my child may like to do. Just take that away from them.
Okay. Um, Last couple questions. How many times as a child do you remember being physically disciplined?
A lot, to be honest, a lot. I don't really pretty much know a specific number, but a lot.
And who disciplined you the most as a child?
My mom,
No.
just because my dad wasn't around, so my mom.
All right, last question here. Have you or anyone else ever experienced some type of child abuse outside of, just the regular spankings or anything like that?
I don't think, by law maybe it was probably child abuse, but I don't think that, my mom intentionally was trying to abuse me as a child. She just was just punishing me and disciplining me because, like I said, I was the only child. I didn't have a father figure, and I was bad. I was a bad child, and I didn't listen. So, her proper way was, to spank me and to use, physical discipline. And I didn't think she was just, trying to abuse me for no reason at all, because I know my mom loved me. But, yeah, I don't think I experienced any, child abuse as a child.
Just so everyone clearly knows your definition of child abuse and discipline, could you explain the difference between the two?
All right, so say that question again.
Just explain the difference between child abuse and discipline.
All right, so I would say discipline is you disciplining your child, meaning like you're showing him right from wrong, showing him or her right from wrong, and just making them accountable for whatever decision they have made, which you didn't like or wasn't the right decision, and that's you can either do that by taking something away from them or doing something like that. I think child abuse is when the parent does something physically, mentally, to really disturb the child, really that affects the child, and even though they might not mean to, I feel like that's more child abuse than discipline. Just hitting, I would say hitting, calling your child names, or giving them bruises or whatever the case may be. Anything as far as that is child abuse. Discipline is more of a vocal thing that you could talk to your child and discipline in that way. I think child abuse is more physical.
Right. All right. Thanks again, Dysh. This is Dyshawn Davis, Syracuse linebacker and CFS major. Thanks, Dyshawn.